us onto leadership, because as part of your role, you also lead and manage a team. From your experience, what have been your top 3 skills you've learned over the years in managing a team?
So I'd say that trusting people is the biggest one. Like I said that before, but I think, you really have to trust people. Through some negative experiences with flexible working and perceptions that came with that, particularly after becoming a parent, I realized quite early on that I need to trust my team, And I basically said to them, I'm going to be working from, this is before COVID and everything, obviously, but I'm going to be working from home 1 day a week. You are more than welcome to do the same. I only ask that these couple of days we have in the office together. Any other day, you choose whatever you want to do. And I'm going to trust you to get your stuff done as and when and how you want, right? So you just do what you need to do. And I think that has paid itself back in dividends, because the gratitude and the appreciation for having that trust bestowed on them, I think it then pays itself back through discretionary effort and things like that, and loyalty, right? And so I think that is a really big one for me, because I think that does, as I said before, create that circle of psychological safety for the team. So that's a really big one. I think the vulnerability and authenticity piece is another one. I think, for me, I noticed that when I started stepping outside of my title as a lawyer, and when I started doing more in the organization that was, I guess, marrying my passions with being a lawyer, or being an employee of the company, people started to pay more attention, and they started to get to know me as a person and as a leader, rather than just Niti the lawyer. And so, things from flexibility to mental health to talking about recognition and things like that, they're all things that I started bringing with me to my job and really getting more and more involved in. And I remember there were a couple of people here and there who were like, that's not really your job, is it? I'm like, well, it isn't. But, on the other hand, I think these are the things that make you stand apart from other people. And I think often lawyers in particular can get in this, not a rut's not the right word, but they can sort of feel that you have a job and you need to stay within the confines of that job, right? You even see it on LinkedIn, like with people's profiles, it's very much, I am a lawyer, and I'm like, okay, but there's more to you than being a lawyer, right? Like, who are you? That's what I want to know. Like, because this is what connects people. It's not, you're a lawyer. Like, it's, who are you? Like, what are the traits that you possess? What is your personality? What are the things that you love doing? All of those sort of things. So for me, that was a really big one. And I think it's kind of, it's really changed things for me at the organization. And I don't think that people necessarily even put 2 and 2 together and realize that that's what it is. But in my mind, I can see it. And I'm like, things have changed for me since I started being more than just my role. So that's a big one. And I think along with that, what else would I say? So I said trust, authenticity, and vulnerability. And I think, having people's back, right? Like, I think you've got to give people enough space to do their own thing and to learn and to grow, right? So kind of like a child when they're learning to walk, right? If you mother them too much and you stop them from falling each and every time, they're not going to learn how to walk, right? Falling is part of learning to walk. And in the same way with your team, you've got to, I think, allow them that space to do what they need to do and to make those few mistakes, but you've got to allow them to do it in an environment that is safe. And that safety comes with you being their safety net, right? So you tell them, I am here for you, and I will make sure that if something happens, that I have your back, because that is my responsibility. But you need to go out there and you need to try things. So don't just come to me and, and ask me all the, for the answers, right? And this is something I've learned over time. I wasn't great at this when I first started in my role, because you go from being in a doing role to moving to a managing role, and the transition can be, quite stark, particularly for lawyers, because we often don't manage people until we get into these senior positions. And so I've had to learn it along the way, but I think it's really helped. Once I've started doing this more and more, it has helped a lot.